Welcome to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by LA's First Choice Auto Auction on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion football. Now, live from Topala Catering in downtown Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Saturday night marked the home opener for our Southeastern Lions, and it turned out to be one of the longest games in school history as we played into Sunday morning due to a lengthy weather delay. The Lions knew they would have their hands full with one of the conference favorites, but eventually our Lions made too many mistakes to come away with a victory. In the game, our offense put up 496 yards of offense, but 3 turnovers and 16 penalties certainly did the Lions in. Southeastern will look to clean up those mistakes as they head to Beaumont, Texas to take on the Lamar Cardinals in a 6 o'clock kickoff this Saturday night. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction, live from our home, Topala, right here in Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight, whether on the Lions Radio Network or watching live on Facebook, or you can even check the archive out on YouTube. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock, and over the next hour we'll get Coach Scelfo's thoughts on the game against Central Arkansas and get a preview of this week's game against Lamar. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be joined by the head football coach of your Southeastern Lions, Frank Scelfo. Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo is presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction in Topala on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
Imagine life without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
All right, welcome back here to Topala in downtown Hammond. I'm Alan Waddell. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo. He's coming, everybody, so just everybody calm down. I got a message. He's caught a train. You know, I think everybody in Hammond can appreciate with that and when you catch one of those trains. But I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight. We're going to be with you until 8 o'clock. We're going to break down this last weekend's game. As Saturday night, our Southeastern Lions opened up conference play against Central Arkansas, and it was certainly a strange game. A lot of different things took place. Game went all the way into Sunday morning as our Lions dropped it 33-25 to fall to 0-1 in the conference play, but certainly one that we're going to look back at because I believe Central Arkansas has one of the better teams in our conference. I thought it was a winnable football game. We'll get Coach's thoughts on all that in just a moment, and so be here with us in just a second. I want to thank Topala for being our host each and every week here. We're going to be here on Monday nights from 7 to 8 o'clock talking Lion football. As I know that everybody is tuned in here tonight to listen to Coach Scelfo, and he will be here momentarily. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to squeeze in another timeout real quick, and then we'll come back, and we'll just have an extended first session as we'll give him a couple of more minutes. Hey, look, here he comes in the door right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it right here for him as Coach Scelfo is coming in the door. He just wiped the brow. So, hey, that saved us a timeout. You going to make it up here? I heard you called a train. Yeah. That's all right, as Coach Scelfo has now made it in. So we want to appreciate him for being here tonight, as obviously a lot on his plate, getting our Lions ready to play this weekend against Lamar. Coach, thanks for being here tonight. I know that you caught that train, but we appreciate you being here to break down this past one and look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, that is one of the cool things about Hammond, though, are the trains. I love them. My cousin Vinny's one of my favorite shows, and to hear get him to wake up every morning like I do with that train blowing, but sometimes they do aggravate you, like just now.
That's the comment I made. I said anybody that lives in Hammond certainly can appreciate that. As certainly there's a lot of trains that come through here in our community. Well, Coach, let's get into this game a little bit. It's certainly a tough loss, a game that I thought that we had chances to win, but I mentioned it in the open before you got in here that just too many mistakes, too many penalties, a few turnovers, didn't play clean enough to beat a good team like UCA.
Yeah, you mentioned them, the turnovers, the penalties, and then the explosive plays. They got some big plays. We've done a good job of kind of keeping those things from taking place, and we didn't get it done the other night on defense, and then we didn't get enough offensive explosive plays. We need more of those, but it's we're work in progress, especially offensively. Those guys got to be put in those positions to go up and contend balls and compete for those balls on both sides to, and have the discipline. We need to cover those guys deep and run the right routes and things like that. And the turnovers, especially in the red zone, busted play, a young guy just made a mistake. And those things happen. And we're going to have some growing pains like that from inexperienced players, but we got to do a better job as coaches getting our guys prepared.
Coach, before we get more into the game, I do want to give everyone an update and let you update everyone on Kyle Strickland. I'm sure there was a lot of people that were concerned with him, the way he was taken off the field there after the rain delay, actually got put into the ambulance. Can you give us an update on him and his health at this point?
Yeah, he's, that night basically got a bad stinger, and the procedure, I guess I'm thankful for our doctors and our trainers, Brandon Albin and Alex Bowers. They did a good job just getting him to relax. He was scared. And then if you've ever had a stinger, it's basically one side of your arm goes numb, your shoulder. And that's what happened, and he got nervous and got scared and everything else, and he really didn't want to move. So they got him in there, got him calmed down and said, look, we'll take care of you. Got him over to the hospital. He went to North Oaks, went over to see him later on that night. Or I guess it was early in the morning by then. And the only thing he wanted to do was get something to eat. He was hungry by then. So it's good. He got out yesterday morning, came to meetings, came to practice, and came by this morning. We sat down and talked for a long time. So he's doing fine. Whether he's available this week, we'll see. There was some trauma in there, but whether he's available for us this week, we'll see. It'll probably be a game-time decision. But he's doing well. Appreciate everybody thinking about him.
Coach, you mentioned the explosive plays in this game, and this is one thing defensively I think in the first couple of weeks you've been pretty good at. You look at it, only 7 explosive plays against ULM and LSU in 151 snaps. What was the difference this week? I mean, they did hit some big plays on us.
Yeah, we got caught up in the run game a little bit, and we put some guys on an island, and eye discipline is something we talk about all the time, reading your keys, knowing exactly what to do and how to do it, and we had some guys kind of freelance a little bit trying to make a play. And what you can't do is when you're part of a unit, 11 guys, everything's got to work in, correlation with the other guy, and that didn't happen. So as a result of that, we had people running free down the field, and big plays took place. But, it's not because of lack of effort, and it's not, even though we're 0-3 and we lost, that was a big game for us not to win the other night. We had some people that played well, and there were a lot of positive things that took place during the course of the game.
Coach, this season so far, I was kind of looking at some notes and what I wanted to put in here, and it just feels like these first 2 weeks, I mentioned it in the press conversation, almost like the year of targeting. I mean, we've had 3 big targeting calls already. I think there's a lot of gray area in this rule, and certainly we mentioned some of those explosive plays. TaMarcus Russell wasn't on the field in the second half for us defensively, and we lose Matt Wright to injury in the first half as well. Your 2 leading tacklers didn't play in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know how much that meant. The targeting deal, they're going to call what they see, and they review them, and those things are called. I think as a coach who's been in it for a long time, you kind of understand officiating sometimes is what it is, and you can't use an excuse, and you can't fall back on it. You got to keep playing hard, and you hope you're teaching your kids to say the right things to do and how to do it. But I think there is some gray area in that area, and I know it's for protection of the players, and we're all for that. That's not something anybody disputes, I don't think. But sometimes it is a tough call, and when you lose a guy because of that, you lose that guy for the rest of the game and sometimes for the first half of the next game, depending on when it took place.
And for our fans that aren't aware, the new rule this year is it doesn't have to be called on the field. And that's what happened in this one. Tamarcus Russell was not called on the field, as they can actually, if they see something from the replay booth, they can buzz down. And that's what happened. That's a new rule this year.
Yeah, all plays are reviewed in college football. So none of the officials on the field caught it. They were about to run the next play, and the replay official buzzed down and says that we really need to take a look at this. This guy might have launched, might have used the crown of his helmet, things like that. So they called timeout. They buzzed down to the field, which is, look, it's a normal. It just doesn't happen against us. It happens against everybody or a lot of people. And they buzzed down, and the guy ruled that it was targeting. So, we live with the consequences and move on.
Coach, as a coaching staff, as a team, what do you do to address this? I mean, three in the first 3 games with 3 key players on defense that have not been able to play significant snaps. Is there something you talk about with your team? Is it something you work on at practice? I mean, I really don't know, because I've said this multiple times on our radio broadcast this year, is I don't know how you play defense in 2018, because there's certain things that you just can't help. I mean, if you go in to make a tackle and somebody spins or somebody ducks and your helmet's hit, I don't know what you do. So is it something you talk about, or do they just keep playing?
No, we do talk about it. We talk about it. I know Louis addresses it nonstop. We talk about it on special teams. If you notice that of our 3 targeting penalties, one was on a tackle, which was the other night. Another one was on a receiver that Xavier made a play on. Another was on special teams, a block.
Yeah.
So, it happens in different areas. So we address it in all areas. It could happen offensively on a crack or something like that. So it happens in all areas. We address it with the team. We show them the things. The officials, Byron Boston, does a good job. He sends us video of things that take place during the course of each week. We show that to the players so that they have an idea of what officials are looking for. But we do have a tough time sometimes really recognizing what's actually targeting and what's not. And we send in those clips. They give us an explanation, and sometimes it's a little bit gray, but you got to live within the rules, and whatever they call, you got to live with them and move on from there.
Coach, I know after the game, you in your press conference, you said, "Hey, 16 penalties not acceptable." Talk about that just a bit. I mean, obviously it's tough to win when you have 140 yards in penalty yards.
Yeah, you're not gonna. I mean, that's a football field and a half, So you're looking at touchdowns that you're giving away. Were all of them great? I don't know. We talk about that each week with the officiating and, discuss it, because we're going to get educated. We got to get educated to do a better job with our players. And we just can't do that. Some of those are discipline penalties that we have to do a better job taking control of, explaining to our guys the ramifications of when you do it, it's about you. When it's a dumb penalty, it's really about you. It's not about us. So we preach more of the team aspect of it. Move on, go play the next play. But at the same time, those guys aren't going to be in the game. When some guys got some penalties the other night, they were taken out of the game immediately. And we move forward with the other guys that are going to be playing.
Coach, let's talk about a big positive from Saturday night was Ivy Wall. He was named Southland Conference Special Team Player of the Week. He averaged over 50 yards a punt and has really done a nice job through the first part of this season.
He really has. He's been directional. There's a couple of different punts that we use. A rugby punt that goes end over end, and Coach Jenkins mixes it up as to which one he's going to call. And then he was hitting the ball well the other night, got some the direction that he was putting the ball in. But I think another part of that really goes overlooked sometimes is our coverage team. Our punt coverage team has done a great job getting down the field, and I think their punt return guy backed off a couple of balls because we were so close and allowed them to roll, and we picked up an extra 8, 10, 12 yards. That's hidden yardage that a lot of people don't see, that over the course of that game we picked up 68 yards in hidden yardage. So that was for us or for anybody, that's really a good thing.
And like I mentioned, Ivy Wall, he was named Special Teams Player of the Week for the Southland Conference. He averaged 50.3 yards per punt, along and 53, and had 4 down inside the 20. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. We come back, we're going to talk more about this one right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Each summer, student-athlete leaders from the Southland Conference's 13 schools get together for a retreat. Before we start another season of competition, there's time to have some fun and bond. We also share experiences of serving our campuses and communities. Together, Southland student-athletes completed more than 30,000 community service hours over the past year. We pull for each other and push to make each other better. Just part of what makes us Southland strong.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face. You don't know me. You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter. Shortstop. High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
NCAA Division I FCS football is a game of perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game, every FCS student athlete grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS, every down, every day.
All right, welcome back here to Topoli Catering in downtown Hammond. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction. We appreciate everybody for coming out here tonight. We'll be talking Lion football till 8 o'clock, from 7 to 8 o'clock here tonight and each and every Monday night during the football season. Coach, let's talk more about this game against UCA. And first, I didn't get a chance to get you to comment on your in the opening segment, but it was your first home game in Strawberry Stadium. I know you had talked to a lot of people, talked to Coach Ortiz, talked to a lot of the game day guys. I know you're worried about coaching the football game, but your impressions of coaching your first game in Strawberry Stadium.
Well, I think you got to have appreciation. I mean, I was focused in on the game, but you got to have appreciation for what was taking place out there. You know, I thought Andrew Bishak and the entire crew, the athletic department, did a super job. We had breakfast earlier on campus, the whole team did, and then when we broke from there, I kind of went out there and just saw, just kind of take in the atmosphere, and there's Mariana and Jillian setting up barricades on the street, and I went, you got to be kidding me, man, this is awesome. And people were just the excitement around there. The Kappa Sig 10 invited me in for food and beverage around 10 o'clock that morning. They were already out there, and just the whole vibe. And then we got onto the field, the stadium we truly had a home field advantage, which is what I really wanted. I wish the score obviously would have turned out different, but we had a great home field advantage. We got what we asked for, and we didn't deliver on the field, but I thought our fan base did a super job. Student body was out. It was good. It was really good. Great excitement there.
Coach, this was the first game out of the three that you got the football to start the game. They won the toss and deferred their option to the second half, so you took the football in the first drive and pushed it right down the field and scored a touchdown. It was probably you couldn't have started it any better there in the first half. And we mentioned it last week. If you were going to try to throw the football down the field a little more than we saw in the first couple of weeks, and we did. We saw some shots, and we saw a shot on the first drive of the game to C.J. Turner, which put us in an opportunity to score.
Yeah, sometimes if you listen to the show, I'll tell you what we're going to be doing the next week, right? Greg and I talked about it. Let's get the ball down the field. Let's push it. Let's start testing some of the guys who made plays in practice and see if they could do it in a game. And C.J. did a nice job. He had man coverage, and Jason gave him a ball he could handle. He went up and he got it. So that was a positive play for us. We needed some more of those, but we did get that one early on. It led to a touchdown right off the bat.
Coach, let's talk about a couple of key plays in the game. I thought defensively, the way that the game started, we really were in whatever they wanted to do. We had them frustrated, couldn't really get anything going. I thought one of the big plays as we turned the football over, we're up 7-0. We have the ball on midfield, and there's a fumble call. They get the football, and it kind of changes the momentum. It just seemed like we had the momentum there. We were moving the football again, and an opportunity to go up by 2 scores.
Yeah, we did. It's so critical. Turnovers are so important. They change momentum, field position. We had picked up a first down. We were moving the ball again. we felt really good with the game plan and what we were doing. And sometimes it takes the wind out of you, but we got to overcome that. We got to step on the field defensively, stop them, get the ball back, and let's do it again on offense. And we didn't get it done. But, I think sometimes that people don't realize 1 or 2 turnovers in the course of a game dictate the outcome of the game, and we just got to stay away from them. We got to be better with the football, protect it better, make better decisions with it in our hands.
Coach, let's talk about a couple of other plays in the first half that certainly any time through a football season you're going to deal with some injuries. It's a contact, it's a physical game. We had been relatively healthy through the first couple of weeks, but we had some injuries there in the first half. A guy that you were just incredibly high on. I know you talked about him a lot in the week leading up to that game was Matt Wright and the job he had been doing at the free safety position. He goes down with an injury, a knee injury. Talk about him and obviously his status. I believe that he's going to be out for the year. Suffered a pretty bad injury.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate. He got cut and out in the field, and that was that should have been a penalty that was called. It was in clear view. It was out in the middle of the field, but I mean it wasn't. That doesn't take away from the fact that he got injured on the play, which he's going to be out for the season. He'll miss the rest of the year. He's going to have surgery hopefully at the end of this week. Getting back going, that's the best case scenario. We get him back going and get him back into rehab and get him ready for spring and see if he can go through that. If not, summer and then next fall. He'll be a guy we miss because he's such a good leader, solid player, obviously. So to lose a guy like that's a big blow, but that's what you prepare for. If you're the next guy up, you got to be the next guy up, and you got to look at it as an opportunity, not as, oh boy. You can't look at it like that. It's an opportunity for you to get on the field because most of the backups, just about any backup that I've ever known, can't wait to get on the field while they're on the sideline.
One play away.
That's right. And now you're on the field. Let's go. So, I want that. I want those guys to say, I want to be on the field. Get me on the field. And then when they get the opportunity, they're ready to jump at it.
I've been asked this a few times. Is he eligible for a red shirt?
He is. Yeah.
So he is.
Yeah. But he's such a great student. I'm hoping he'll end up graduating in 3.5 or 4 years, come back, get his master's degree from Southeastern. He'll be set for life. He'll have an undergrad and grad degree like Dr. Crane, be set for life. Maybe the next president at Southeastern. I don't know.
Coach, talk about Lorenzo as well. He got nicked up as well, and that was a big play too. We looked like we hit a big play down the middle of the field. He goes into traffic, and I think that play on Lorenzo, I said this on the broadcast, I feel like that's the opposite effect of the targeting. Is they're talking about targeting so much, they don't want players to go high, so they're going low. And because they go low on that play, gets Lorenzo in the knee, and he's not able to go the rest of the game.
Yeah, that took him out. That was a tough blow for us also. But you're right there. A guy, the defender really is in a tough situation, whether to go high or low. If he goes high, he got a chance for targeting and injection. He went low, ended up suffering a concussion. Needed a helmet. So that's a tough deal for that kid. And that's what's hard about the game. People don't realize how tough this game is on the players and everything else. But that guy the defender made a good play. He was there at the right time. Lorenzo had it. Just slipped right through his fingertips when he took the shot. But it's unfortunate for both kids.
Coach, they had scored 13 points unanswered. They took the lead 13-7 there late in the first half. Once again, we see your team be able to go down the field right before the half and get points. I thought it was a nice drive against their defense to go down there and make this a 13-10 score right before the half. And I saw your excitement down on the sideline when Tatum knocked it through. I know you talked about he had a good camp. I know he had a couple of tough ones there at ULM, but y'all still have a lot of confidence in him when he went in there and banged it through to make it 13-10 at half.
Yeah, I thought that was a big momentum swing for us, going into halftime with being able to pick up 3 points. DJ had done a good job out of the backfield. It was a 4th and 3, and we picked it up. Got us closer with 3 seconds left, and we were able to kick the field goal. So, I think that's indicative of our guys continuing to compete and looking at the situation and really not overwhelmed by it. They didn't flinch at all. And for them to be able to take the ball like that and drive down the field and get the field goal, and you could feel the vibe in the locker room. It was good at halftime.
Coach, I got to ask you, back up a little bit in that first half especially. I know they're a good defense. I mean, UCA, they're one of the best defenses in our league, certainly are. But the last couple of weeks we've seen you be able to drive the football really kind of between the 30s, and it bogs down a little bit around that 30-yard line. Any reason for that? I mean, anything y'all are seeing from a coaching staff? Because right on that, we've gone for it on 4th down a lot because it feels like we're getting to that 35, 30-yard line and then kind of bogging down in that area.
Yeah, once you start getting in closer to the opposing end zone, in the red zone, like with that, guys got to go make plays because there's not a lot of open space in there. So you really got to have a guy step up and make a play in a one-on-one situation. And, and I keep talking about it, our guys just don't have a lot of experience. That's why we spent so much time on red zone stuff. to put our guys in those situations so they feel confident. We still got to start getting that confidence. Those guys got to start doing that. Lorenzo was a guy that really felt good down there, getting him to football, and him not being in there kind of hurt us a little bit on a couple of packages, but we got to have other people step up and do those things for us, Alan.
Before we go to break, his status, Lorenzo, I know some people have asked.
He'll be a game time decision. So MRI was negative on him. He'll be it's a bruise or strain. It's whatever they call them now these days, and he'll be. We'll see how practice goes this week, and he'll be a game time decision on Saturday.
All right, let's take another break. We come back, we're gonna have more right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Imagine life without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back here to Topla. I'm Alan Waddell. This is Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction. I want to thank Topla for being our host each and every Monday night. We're at the Topla Catering Building. We're around the corner, and they offer the lunch menu here for our listeners, so certainly we appreciate them for being here and being our host. You checking that thing out? See anything that looks good?
Yeah, we eat here for all of our pregame meals. We eat here in this room. The food's unbelievable. They really do a super job with our guys and take care of us. Tommy and the guys in the kitchen, they do a super. No, I haven't. I'm looking at it right now. I'd love to get something. Anyway.
Coach, let's talk about the second half of this football game. You go in the locker room, you're trailing 13-10 to Central Arkansas, and hey, just got to call it like it is. Got to be honest. The second half probably started about as bad as it could have started for us. So they came out, got a touchdown on their first possession, and then we turned the ball over and gave them a short field.
Yeah, like I said, we went into halftime, felt good. We had some adjustments, especially in the pass game, offensively. Defensively, it was basically just be a little more disciplined what we were going to do. Losing Matt and changing a couple of things up with some guys coverage-wise, made those adjustments and put the personnel in the right spot. They came down, hit a big play in that first drive, and then went down and scored. And in the first play, we botched a quarterback running back exchange. And that's what I talk about, Alan, the basic things that we do day in and day out the expectations are they're going to be executed. And when they're not, that's not a physical issue. That's not when you have those things, those aren't physical problems. That's a mental problem. That's a mental issue where the concentration on doing your job at that time isn't there. And that bothers me more than anything else. If a guy gets beat, I can understand that happens. But mentally, if you don't do what you need to do and the team's penalized because of it, that bothers me.
Coach, one thing I didn't mention in the first segment or the second one was the return of Marcus Cooper. We saw him back in this game, and I hate to bring it up, but Juice, that was the one play he was in there was on that fumble. But talk about those two guys and their health moving forward. There's certain guys that we've seen do good things here in Hammond in the last few years.
Yeah, I think Marcus he's had a really remarkable road from recovery. He's about 8 months out, a little over 8 months out from an ACL surgery, which is really a short time to getting back full speed. The week of the Monroe game, it was close, but the doctors had told us from day one, probably hitting camp, that they were looking at this week, Central Arc. So he started getting some reps in practice during the week of the Monroe game. LSU practiced even more and felt good. Didn't have any problems with it. So we said, let's use it. Let's put him out there. We threw him a couple of balls, let him run with it. It's the first time he's been hit since last year, so that's I thought he did a good job. He stepped up in there in protection a couple of times. He got ran over once, but he didn't back down. He stood up in there. So I was really proud of him.
One thing that you always wonder and worry about when someone's coming off of an ACL injury is their explosiveness, their burst. I thought he answered some of those questions on his touchdown in the second half. He took off from maybe the 5-yard line, was able to get up over the pile. I mean, he's a special athlete in a small package. He has a lot of explosiveness. Your thoughts on his ability to cut and still burst like he used to?
Yeah, well, that's what makes you nervous sometimes. Through camp, we're really conscious of what he was able to do or not do because of the knee and how short a time period it was. But he was able to start doing some things, so you started seeing some flashes. I thought maybe jump from the 10. I don't know. It was nice. It was over everything. Yeah, it was over everything, and he got in the end zone. He was excited. He's a guy that when he smiles, he just lights up a room. So he was beaming coming to the sidelines. He was so excited. Didn't shake hands with anybody. Didn't stop running until he got to the bench for the most part. But it was exciting for him to be able to do that.
I don't know how many of our fans realize that's just a little tidbit from a year ago, but Marcus Cooper had an incredible game against Nichols in the finale, and he actually played in that game with a torn ACL. Didn't even know it. So, I mean, he had over 100 yards rushing and was one of the main reasons we won that game last year against Nichols. So, certainly an incredible road to recovery, as hopefully he can get back to the form he was at in his freshman year a year ago. Coach, this second half was certainly a weird one, as they took a lead, and then we had the long delay. Talk about that delay, about 7 minutes left. And I know there was some people say, hey, they're going to call the game. But at that point, it was only a 2-score game because they had missed an extra point. It was only a 16-point game. And but talk about that delay and that whole situation. Certainly something you don't see every day.
Yeah, Jay and I met on it today. I don't think the conference has anything in place to determine whether the game should be called or not. So I'm not sure. I had never been involved in a lightning delay game. But one of the things as you prepare for when you become a head coach is things that you really hadn't done before. So I reached out to a lot of guys in the business, some head coaches that I know really well, and asked them what they did and what they would change, what they would do during the delay, how long it would be, things like that. And one of the big things that I got from them that some of them did, some of them didn't do and wish they had was when you got in the locker room, spend time with your guys, put the position coaches with the position guys, and not just talk about football, but talk about other stuff. Maybe the flow of the game, maybe how they're feeling, maybe what they're doing. Because when it's time to go back on the field, when they give us the okay, you got 3 minutes to get on the field, and the next snap's taking place. Well, we were in there an hour and 17 minutes. So at about 5 minutes left, once they gave us the okay, there was 5 minutes left. We had to stay in the locker room. We got our strength coach, Jerry Passetti, to start stretching all the guys. So we went through an entire stretch routine in the locker room. Once that third minute, when they said you got 3 minutes, we took off, hit the field. We started running and everything else. Kicker started kicking, punting. Ivy started punting. Chasen was getting loose. And our guys running up and down the side. So we felt pretty good getting back on the field from that standpoint. And it showed right there.
Yeah, Coach, certainly you're down by 16. They have the ball in the plus territory, down in your territory. The only shot you have in this game is they couldn't score on that possession, and you're able to hold them out of the end zone at the 1-yard line, and you go 99 yards and actually put a touchdown on the board, get the 2-point conversion, and just like that, we're in a 1-score game with 3 timeouts left.
Well, you always look at games like that, not so much the score but the possessions. How many possessions can you get to get back into this thing? And we were 2 possessions down. And we went through the scenario with our players. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stop them. We're going to get the ball back. We're going to go down, score. go for two. We're going to make the 2-point conversion. We're going to onside kick it. We're going to get that back. If we don't get it, now we're going to call 3 quick timeouts, stop them, get the ball, force them to punt. Then we might have to go 80, 90 yards again. Doesn't matter. We're going to score 2-point conversion going overtime. Let's get ready for a long game. And we told them that's what we're going to do. That's our plan coming out. And, it came close, but that's what we did, the 99-yard drive. I mean, talk about guys not wanting to quit, playing all the way to the end.
I think we had a third and 20.
Stopping them on the 1 yard. We did. Stopping them on the 1 yard line. They were on the one on third down, stopped them. Fourth down, stopped them again. So, that's what I'm saying. We're 0-3, but when you look at some of the things our guys are doing, it's not the sky is falling. Our guys are competing their butts off, and I'm really proud of them for doing that.
And you're about a half a yard from getting that onside kick? I mean,
it was 9.5. It was a good call. No, the call was good. He was short. He was about 9.5, and, it happens. But we had 3 timeouts, which we planned for that. We were going to use all 3, and we got the guy stopped for no gain and just kind of bounced out the back door and picked up the first down, and they were able to take a knee from then.
All right, tough one there to end, but certainly the Lions got back in this one and dropped the tough one by 8 to UCA. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to turn the page and start looking towards Lamar this weekend as our Lions will be on the road in Beaumont, Texas, right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Label me.
You know you want to.
Don't be shy.
You do it behind my back.
So say it to my face. You don't know me. You know what I am?
I'm a pitcher.
I'm a striker.
I'm a point guard.
I'm a linebacker.
I'm a setter. Shortstop. High jumper.
Wrestler.
Defender.
Goalie.
Student.
Student athletes.
That's who we are.
Each summer, student-athlete leaders from the Southland Conference's 13 schools get together for a retreat. Before we start another season of competition, there's time to have some fun and bond. We also share experiences of serving our campuses and communities. Together, Southland student-athletes completed more than 30,000 community service hours over the past year. We pull for each other and push to make each other better. Just part of what makes us Southland strong.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
NCAA Division I FCS football is a game of perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game, every FCS student-athlete grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS, every down, every day.
All right, welcome back. About 20 minutes to go here on our show of Inside Southeastern Football with head coach Frank Scelfo. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be. Listen on the Southeastern Sports Network or also watching live on Facebook. We want to say hello to you there as well. And you can always watch the archive of this on YouTube as well. So if you tuned in a little late, you didn't hear what Coach had to say earlier in the show, you can always go back and listen to him later on tonight or even tomorrow. But, Coach, let's talk about, before we wrap up UCA just a moment, I always like to give you an opportunity to maybe talk about some guys we didn't talk about if you've had a chance to go back and watch the tape. Anybody stick out to you, had a good game in this one that you'd like to point out?
Pat Allen had a good game at left tackle. He had struggled a little bit against LSU and played, I guess, okay versus ULM, but I thought he played really well this past week at left tackle. And then, I think Branson Schwab's had a chance to kind of showcase some of the things he can do. We've been trying to get him the ball and do some stuff with him, but the other night he was able to make some explosive plays, caught a touchdown pass, things like that, done a better job blocking on the perimeter. So those are two guys offensively I think are are playing better for us and doing some stuff. And then, Xavier Lewis on defense, he had the one bust for the long play, but I thought he played with so much energy and juice. And Trey Spann stepped in for Matt Wright and did a good job. So, we got some guys that are willing to step up, want to play, and we just got to keep developing them.
I thought y'all played Xavier Lewis a little more in the slot this week. Was that by design?
Well, we did that against Monroe also. So a lot of times he'll go into the nickel. When we go to nickel personnel, he'll move inside, and Philando will go outside at the corner position with DeJean. When it's base personnel, then we'll move Xavier out. Philando will go out of the game. We'll bring in an extra linebacker and go with two corners in.
And Coach, just finally wrapping this one up, certainly Central Arkansas is a good team. They're defending conference champs. They're in the top 15 in the FCS polls. And really, I think if you look at the game, for me, really the difference in the game is the penalties, the turnovers, and their ability to make some one-on-one plays and man coverage. And we didn't do that in some situations.
Yeah, I think you're right. But, that's how most games are decided, really. When you look at it. We got to do a better job in all three of those situations. We got to be able to score when we get down in the red zone. We got to be cleaner in an execution standpoint on both sides of the ball. I thought our special teams did a good job the other night. We had some good plays. I think Ivy did a great job. Kicking the field goal right before half was solid. And, so there were some good things there, some positive that came out of that part.
All right, let's turn the page as the Lions will be on the road this weekend as they're going to take on Lamar at 6 o'clock over in Beaumont, Texas at Provost Humphreys Stadium. The game will be televised on ESPN3 or watchespn.com. And Lamar comes in this game 1-2. They had a blowout win early in the year and then got roughed up against Texas Tech and then dropped a heartbreaker last week to Northwestern. They actually looked like they were going to tie the game right at the end, 49-49. They missed the extra point, so they lose 49-48 against Northwestern State. Talk about what you see from Lamar as you're breaking down that tape and getting ready for the Cardinals this week.
Yeah, that's a booger of a game. The first 2 weeks are hard to really find some stuff out on them because of the scores are so lopsided.
Right. They played an inferior
70-0 in the first game. They win. They lose 77-0 in the second game. So
against Texas Tech,
there's not a lot of stuff there. But this past week, there's all kind of things that happened in the Northwestern game. There was some red zone stuff, goal line situations. They were in some fourth down things that they went for on both sides of the ball. I think what you'll see, it's more similar, I think, offensively to UL Monroe than what we saw the last 2 weeks. So there'll be a little more option. Their quarterback's a dynamic player, runs the option well, throws the football well, is good in space. And they got a slot receiver, number 23. I'll learn his name by the end of the week, I promise you that. But I know he's number 23. He's a big play guy for him. He catches the ball well and is able to go to distance. They keep him in the slot, get him in matchup situations with either backers or safeties, and he's got a chance to be explosive. They're probably more down the field in the pass game than anybody we've played. They're going to take some shots. They're going over the top. They're going to try to do some things. The completion percentage downfield isn't great, but they're going to do it a bunch of times, whereas they get a chance to take advantage of it and get some completions. So I think their quarterback is really good. Defensively, they're going to come at us from all angles. They blitzed Texas Tech a bunch. They blitzed the first game. They brought a lot of pressure against Northwestern. Their safeties and backers, they get to the quarterback. They get home on a regular basis, and they create some confusion on defense. They do put their secondary guys in one-on-one situations. So Northwestern had a couple of short throws that were completed and missed tackle and went for big yardage. So that's an opportunity for our guys. You can keep an eye out. When they bring pressure, there'll be some situations where we got some receivers able to catch a short pass and turn it into something big, and we've got to be able to do that to take advantage of them putting pressure on us.
Offensively for Lamar, it's almost similar to what we were doing around here the last few years, where it's run, and then take a shot over the top, and that's what they've been doing. They're leading the conference in rushing offense as they're running for about 247 yards per game, and then they try to take shots over the top as well as they have hit some big plays in the passing game. But certainly a back-and-forth game over there they had against Northwestern State. But special teams-wise, their kicker, how are they doing in that regard? Have you looked at that yet?
Yeah, and I hadn't gotten to the special teams part. I talked to Ross a little bit about it, and then he feels comfortable with some of the stuff that they got matching up. I know they've got a good returner that he says we got to be wary of. So, that'll be something as the week goes on I'll spend more and more time on.
Coach, you mentioned it. you're 0-3. The record is what it is at this point. You played a very tough schedule. Opened at ULM, had a tough one there. Certainly against LSU in week 2, and then this past week against UCA. I mean, how bad does this team need to win? I mean, to get out just to get the taste of victory. I know it's always a challenge when you go on the road, but an opportunity to get a victory against Lamar.
I need a win. How about that? You know, I want the team to have a win too. That means we all win, right? And so I want that to take place. But I think more than anything else is that we got to. Fundamentally, we got to continue to grow and keep developing, and our guys got to keep doing that. But yeah, we want to win, and I want people to look at our schedule when they look at and see us on the schedule instead of us saying, "Well, we got a tough schedule ahead of us." I want them to be looking at us going, "Oh man, we got them the week 2 or week 3 or whatever." I want them to fear us just like others would, and so I want people don't see that. I think Miss Peggy Matthew. Oh, now the other guy takes it away. This is bait and switch all the way. Anyway, but I want our guys to continue to grow and develop, and I want to get the win, and we'll get it. It'll come. It's going to come.
What's the mood like in your team? I know sometimes whenever you're dealing with young players and, they're not getting the reward, I guess, at the end of the night, what's it like with your team in that team room whenever you're
we got a 24-hour rule. So 24 hours after the game, you can pout for the next 24 hours, do whatever you want to do. We're good. But when you walk in there for on Sunday evenings, we have a family dinner with the entire team. We sit down, and we got some of the people in here have done a great job contributing and helping us and getting food out there for the players. We sit down and have a family meal. And I tell them before we say the blessing, that when the blessing's done, we're done with the previous game. We're moving on to the next, and we're excited about the next game. So there's no sitting around moping or anything like that all week long. We're done with it. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. We got a 24-hour rule to pout or to celebrate, whatever it is, and then we move on to the next game. And we don't care about what happened in the past. We care about what happens now this coming Saturday.
Give you some serious history notes on the two teams. Southeastern and Lamar have tangled 12 times. Lions lead that overall matchup 8-4. It's 5-2. Southeastern has beat Lamar in Hammond and 2-2 in Beaumont. Last year, Southeastern had Lamar at home. We won that football game 49-21 against the Cardinals. But one thing, Coach, about where they are, and in that western part of Louisiana, eastern part of Texas, there's always a lot of really good players in that area, hotbed for football.
Yeah, I coached high school football there back in the 80s, and there's some good players, good schools. The coaches do a good job in that area, the high school coaches. The head coach is a guy that's been around a long time, Mike Schultz, a good friend of mine, been knowing him. And those guys will be ready to play. They're, when you look at them, I think what you see is you see a lot of speed, a lot of guys with athletic ability running around, and they do a lot of stuff. It reflects on what they do offensively and defensively, taking advantage of the personnel that they have.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take our final break. When we come back, we'll have some questions, and we'll wrap it up right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Coach Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Imagine life without football. No Friday night lights, no pep rallies, no band. All that time invested to teach young men and women commitment and team spirit, gone. Football, where young men and women compete to be the best, where bands, cheerleaders, and countless others take part in the team experience. Celebrate the passion that only happens every fall. Join the game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for providing the facilities to meet my health and nutritional needs in order for me to be the best student athlete I can be.
For making game day experiences go from ordinary to extraordinary.
For allowing me to meet new people and build lifelong friendships while competing at the school I love.
For giving me the resources to pursue my degree and the ability to excel in the classroom.
For helping me look my best as I compete and achieve my goals.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. We have about 10 minutes to go here in our program on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction. As a reminder, this show will be archived on Facebook and also on YouTube. And we are live right now on Facebook as well as the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Coach, we were at your press conference today, and I had pulled out the little Southland Conference season statistics at this point. I don't put a lot of weight in these yet because it's so early. And the competition is so much different for teams in the conference. Whenever you play 3 or 4 league games, it starts making a little more sense. But one thing I did want you to address is I think that it does stand out a little bit is pressure on the quarterback. We're struggling getting pressure on the quarterback, and we've allowed the most sacks in the league at this point. Can you comment on those right now? Again, I still think a lot of this is too early, but I did think that stood out a little bit.
No, I mean, we notice that. Those are things that we talk about. We talk about affecting the quarterback and not allowing our quarterback to get affected. So when you talk about affecting the quarterback, we did a nice job against LSU getting after their guys up front and playing with a lot of energy, and then we had a couple of blitzes that we put in there that caused some issues. But I thought we did a great job on the back end. This past week, we didn't do a good enough job on the back end making the quarterback hold the football. We got there close a couple of times. We had a couple of pressures that got home, but we weren't able to affect him because he was able to get rid of the football. So both of those things go hand in hand when it comes to sacks. The pressure on the quarterback, but the coverage downfield and how that's taking place. Then offensively, the sack always it falls on the offensive line, and that's really not the case. It's probably about 50% on that. Sometimes the receivers aren't open or possibly ran the wrong route or they got covered. And then sometimes the quarterback holds on to the football. Chasen probably held on to the football a little bit long the other night one time. And we mark them like that. We attribute those sacks to the quarterback, to coverage, to the offensive line. Might be a running back in protection or to the tight end. Or, there's 11 guys make up a team. Now, you can't look at one position group and say, well, we're not throwing the football well, so the quarterback must not be playing well. That's not the case. It's kind of like the running game. If the running game's not going, and it's the running backs aren't very good. That's not the case. There's receivers that are blocking. There's offensive linemen that are blocking. There's misdirection that's taking place. So when it comes to sacks, it's an overall team effort on both sides of the football. And we just got to do a better job in different areas. We're having breakdowns in different areas. It's not really one thing you can pinpoint, but it's a constant work in progress.
Coach, I want to ask you about this as well. We've mentioned it the first couple of weeks. Any concern with running the football? I know we've been throwing for a lot of yards. We're nearly to 1,000 yards passing through 3 games. Have not really seemed to get the running game going in the first few weeks.
Yeah, we've struggled a little bit there. And it's, again, we talk about it every week, some kind of identifying some must runs that we want to be able to take advantage of and formationally, situationally, things like that. So we'll have some stuff put together this week again. Again, we got behind. I think the third quarter was an opportunity for us to continue to run the football. We weren't able to do it. We got behind 2 touchdowns right at the beginning of the third quarter. So we felt like we got to get back in there by throwing the football a little bit more. But I'd like to run it a little bit more, be more efficient running it. I want to run it well, but I want to run it when we want to run it, not when it's dictated by somebody else. And I want to throw it when we want to throw it. I think Greg's done a good job from a schematic standpoint. We just got to do a better job executing it.
All right, Coach, we got a couple of questions coming in off of our Facebook feed, and one says, Coach, I've been seeing a lot more of hitting with the shoulder and to make a tackle instead of wrapping up with the arms. Why when somebody bounce off and pick up more? I guess the question is,
it is happening, and what's kind of what goes back to what we're talking about with the targeting rule. When you go and you hit somebody and wrap them up, the first thing you're going to lead with is your head, your face mask and things like that. So to be able to get your arms around somebody, well, now you're seeing guys turn a little bit more, using their shoulder to make contact. We'd rather hit and wrap up. That's what we'd rather do. That's how we're teaching it. But I think there's a hesitancy from the defender standpoint at times. And you're seeing it. It happened to us the other night a couple of times. Their defensive guys did the same thing with us. But he's right. You're seeing that a lot more because of that.
I saw one that sticks out to me was right after the targeting on Tamarcus Russell, we had a play where it looked like Braylon Thorns came up and he had an opportunity to, he hit him, but he didn't wrap him up. But it almost like he pulled up. He didn't want to target at that point.
Yeah, and you don't know if that's in the back of their minds or not. You got to make the tackle when it's time to make the tackle. But you do know that it's happening more, like the caller just said. It is happening more, and we got to do a better job of telling those guys, just wrap them up. If it ends up being a targeting, it does. Get your head to the side. Teach them everything about what we're teaching them. I know we do it every day. We have a tackling circuit that we do every day in different angles, different body positions, things like that. So we do that every day to kind of, take advantage of what's happening in the game, but also not to be called for targeting.
Coach, you've been around the game a long time. This is just one of my own follow-up questions on this, and certainly the game has evolved over the last 10 or 15 years more than ever, and you're taking some guys that have been playing this game for a long time and almost have to change what they're doing in some of their aspects of how they can tackle in 2018.
Yeah, they were taught a certain way growing up, and they saw NFL guys doing it a certain way, and you're seeing an outcry at that level right now as to guys getting fined and getting called for targeting and things like that. And so, you're seeing a change taking place, and it's all on player safety, which is a good thing. It's not it's not something that's a bad thing. It frustrates us because it's a change, and for the most part, people don't like change. People would rather keep doing the same thing they've been doing, but hopefully it'll make the game better, safer, keep it competitive, and because it's a great game, we don't want to affect that too much.
All right, Coach, here's another question off of our Facebook feed. It says, Coach, in both the ULM game and the UCA game, the team seemed to not have the same intensity to begin the third quarter. Has the coaching staff discussed this to try and address and maybe change the halftime routine?
Well, we always, when you go in at halftime, you got a few things that you got to do. You make some adjustments. Both staffs sit down together. Then we get with their players positionally. Then we talk about the things that we need to do in the second half, put together a second half game plan, things like that, similar to coming out at the beginning of the game. But at the end of the day, the players said we have to step out on the field and we got to go play. So we're going to look at a couple of things. He's right. We're going to look at a couple of things. You always go back. Hindsight's good. Hindsight's 20/20. Yeah, it does. It gives you a 20/20 vision to be able to go make some changes if you're willing and open to make those changes. If you're just hard-headed and say, well, it doesn't matter. We've been doing this a long time. We're going to continue to do that. You're not advancing your program. So we go back and we always evaluate and we look to make changes, and we don't make them just for the sake of making them, but we make them just in case we have an opportunity to get better because of it.
Coach, let's try to squeeze in a couple more questions. There are a couple of minutes left here. Coach Reggie from La Place says, Coach, seems like we've been using some rugby punting and regular punting. Is that something just the opponent gives you to decide which one you're going to use?
Yeah, we do. We mix them up based on some of their returns. They've got there's certain things that they do from a punt return standpoint, alignments, formational stuff that kind of gives away some things. So we'll check it at the line, change it up from rugby to regular punt and regular punt back to rugby. So, yeah, it's a couple of things that go on. I don't want to give out too much stuff, but, yeah, that's exactly what takes place at times.
All right, Coach Joe from Covington. Coach, it seems like we've had some trouble sacking the quarterback. Can you put your finger on why that is?
How about you, Joe? Yeah, Alan just asked that question. Anyway, no, it's effort. We're getting closer. When we get sacks, it's a combination of things, guys winning quick or coverage in the secondary, force him to hold on to the football. So if we can do those two things or get a combination of those two things, we'll get to the quarterback. Our guys are working at it. We're doing a good job at practice, emphasizing it and things like that, and we're getting some push in there. So it'll come.
All right, Coach, just a couple of minutes left to go here on our show. You dropped a tough one this past week. Another opportunity this Saturday against Lamar to get this thing going in the right direction. Give us your final thoughts of the night as we wrap up UCA and get ready for Lamar this weekend.
Yeah, again, you can't hide from the record. It is what it is. That's the way it is. But I don't want to miss out on the fact that we had some guys that do some good things the other night. And I thought us competing till the end. I think if you always compete, you always have a chance. When you give up and quit, or you go in a tank, or you become a negative person in the locker room or anywhere else, then you lose sight of what's really important out there. So our guys are going to continue to compete, and they'll do that for 60 minutes. We've done it for 3 straight games. We'll continue to do it. We'll get the scoreboard fixed. We'll get it fixed in the right way, and hopefully I'll start this week.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you for being here with us tonight, and good luck this week against Lamar.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Lions will take on Lamar this Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff over in Beaumont, Texas. You can always listen right here on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Pregame will begin at 5:30 with the voice of the Lions, Mark Willoughby. Also, Robbie Rhodes and myself will be on the broadcast. And if you can't make the trip, it is also going to be televised on ESPN3. So ESPN3 or watch ESPN.com. Our Lions will travel to Lamar, again, 6 o'clock kickoff. As that's going to do it for us, we want to thank Topla for being our host, Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction for being our title sponsor of Inside Southeastern Football. We want to thank Dustin Arroyo for being our on-site engineer, and also Colton Vickers for putting up our video and getting us on Facebook Live and YouTube. That's going to do it for us. For Coach Frank Scelfo, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time right here on Inside Southeastern Football with Frank Scelfo, presented by Louisiana First Choice Auto Auction and Topla on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Line up, everybody.
Line up.